Hello everyone, I'm Master John Drake.
And I'm his student, Millicent Rowan.
Okay. Today we're going to talk about recovering out of a deep lunge. I made a video about lunging a little bit ago. You can check that on my channel. And a couple of the questions that I got from that was how do you recover once you've done this really long lunge? How do you recover out of it? And the way that we teach it and do it is a little different than that is commonly taught. And I'll have several video examples here to demonstrate of me and my brother, Master Miguel, demonstrating these techniques in tournaments. So the way that most people have been taught to lunge and recover from their lunge is you've lunged onto your front foot and you've loaded that foot up and then you're pushing yourself back. And while that's not a horrible way to do it, the way that we teach it is a kind of an alternative that we think is good is where we lunge, we actually recover to our right. And I'll play this video real quick here, just at speed, then we'll go back and watch it slow-mo. And so you can see here, I'm going to slow this down.
And John Drake is on the left.
Yes, I am on the left here in the black, and I'm fighting Rowan actually right here. So you see, I do this really long lunge, right? And my shoulders and hips profile and open up from because I usually do a squared stance to start with, and so now I'm profile. This is a pretty traditional lunging form for most. If you look at most lunging techniques through like in modern fencing and in period manuals, right? But because I've extended so far, I kick my left leg out to my right and then I recover out on this other angle. Now, Rowan, this attack killed Rowan, right? But I am, by doing this, and Southern martial arts sometimes call this like a drop step, because I'm just letting my weight fall this way and then catching myself with this back leg.
Mm-hmm.
The
So
other,
it's like not an intentional drive that direction. He's almost falling.
yeah, it's actually almost that I'm a little off balance because I've gone so far, and then I'm just letting myself sort of fall and catch myself to this direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this has a couple of benefits. One, it's fast because you're just letting gravity do the work for you, and it's easy because letting gravity do the work for you. The other
Mm-hmm.
thing is against a right-handed opponent, you're moving away from their sword. So in general, against a right-handed opponent, you want to move to your right. Like if they're a sword and dagger fighter, you move towards their dagger, away from their sword, because they have less range and they have to reach across their body to hit you. So in general, moving in that direction is safer. So this lunge allows me to be safe and keep my hands in front of me. And because I killed Rowan with this attack, I kind of stand up here at the end, right? But we'll show some other examples of ways you can do this first recovery. So here's me again. This is from Vercg. I'm fighting here again. I'm on the right this time, and I'll play here at speed, and then I'll go back and show that as slow motion. It's the same idea here. Pause this, then go back. So you see, done a big lunge, and you can see how also because we teach the squared up stance, right? Shoulders and hips
Mm-hmm.
square. So that I'm uncoiling to get the range from my hips and shoulders by being profiled to extend out and hit. But you can see that my dagger comes up, is still a forward, I block this shot, and then I leave on a different angle than I entered on. So I'm leaving on this angle,
Okay.
but I'm exiting on this other line.
And from experience of fighting against John, if I block that shot, so if he lunges at me and I'm able to actually block, I'm going to have the inclination to fire back where he just came from. I'm probably not going to track him and fire at that different angle just naturally. And all of this is happening incredibly fast. You could think like, well, I know he does this every time, so I'm going to fire in that direction.
Yeah.
People probably aren't going to think fast enough to be able to do that.
Mm,
So you're a lot safer recovering at that angle, moving away from the sword. So the sword is slower, it's having to reach further. It's really safe.
yeah. This is my brother, Master Miguel, here on the left, and will show this technique again, and he does it a lot. He does it a little more subtly than the two examples we just watched. We'll slow this down. So you see, once again, he's profiled, or he's squared, and then he extends out. As always, he has very great lunge form, and you can see his back leg comes in here. So it's not as
Mm-hmm.
quite like mine was a little more exaggerated than this, but his is a little more subtle. But his leg comes in kind of behind his other leg, and then he extends out and he recovers out. So he
Right.
killed his opponent here, but he recovered out on it. He's on a different line than he entered on, so he's very safe. And you can see how it doesn't take much effort rather than having to pull all his weight back the direction he just came. He can just kind of, it's almost like an elliptical motion. So you can see he never really stops moving, right? He's forward and then he's recovering out on the different line.
And again, John mentioned earlier, this is a move used by other martial arts as, and again called a drop step. And it's called a drop step because you're launching your weight forward and then catching your weight with the other leg. So it's not like a very intentional stepping over, and if you try to think through it and force your body to do it, it might not work out the same. You need to really commit to the lunge. Let your weight go all the way forward and then catch yourself and recover to the right.
Yeah.
I've
I
tried to force my body to do it. It's
yeah.
it's
And
not successful.
sometimes when I'm practicing this, either in sparring or in drills, I will the way I think of it is I will sometimes over exaggerate my back leg kicking to that
Mm,
side, and that kind of helps me get the right feel of it. But in general,
that's a
you're
good
just
idea.
kind of letting your weight shift and catching yourself.
Yeah. And
Uh,
I would say that you kind of have to be squared up and then lunging really deep and letting yourself profile at the end of the lunge for this to work. I think that if you started really profile, you could make this work, but still the lunge has to be pretty dramatic. You're uncoiling really far so that you are a little bit off balance and to let yourself be caught. You're not engaging the muscles to force yourself backwards.
yeah. Here's my last example. Here I'm in the red. And this is a good example because I'm doing it as a redouble. So I lunge, my leg covers, and I lunge again. And we'll play this in slow motion here. So you see I lunge out, make a long profile extension, back leg kicks to my right. So I'm a little twisted, right? But I've recovered here, and then instead of because he was out of position, I made the decision to throw a second attack instead of retreat. But I'm still in a good position to do either. So it's this is the this recovery doesn't it still allows you to make a second attack if you need to. But as you can see also, I attack on a slightly different angle, right? I came on this angle,
Yeah,
then I recovered, and then I'm attacking on that slight like slight offline, which let me get around his big buckler, right?
that's really nice. And like with all things with fencing, lateral movements are good, but we do lateral movements in a few inches.
They're very subtle, right?
Like he moved over a couple inches, not a foot, not a
Yeah,
huge lateral movement.
but
So definitely think about all of this funneling forward. Don't try to take this and go like, well, I need to make a huge step off to the right. Just like Miguel did, it was only a few inches, and John is still only a few inches. It's not a large lateral movement.
yeah. So that's the way that we teach recovering out of these long lunges.
Right.
Um, hopefully that was helpful, and hopefully you can work this into your training. If you have any questions, please leave in the comments or reach out to us on social media.
Mhm.
Um, if you want exclusive content, you can subscribe to my Patreon. Please like and subscribe for more videos.
Absolutely. Thank you all for being here.
Yep.
We'll see you next time.